I'm sure you've heard or you've seen couples that the spouses have best friends as opposite sex.
Yeah.
And to think that these best friends are opposite sexes would obviously cause a strain in the marriage if boundaries are not set.
Yes.
That is why we are here.
The title of today's video is Why Setting Boundaries with the Opposite Sex in Marriage is Vital. See, this is very important, especially if you don't want trouble, if you don't want problems. You know, I hear of people say things like, he's my best friend. Yes. I've known him before I even got married to you, or before I even know you, who is my husband now. Or you hear something like, I've known her before I even met you. You are my wife now. So forget about it. I'm telling you, you cannot afford a friend who is not your spouse to be your bestie as a married person. So that's why we tell people that these boundaries are very important. My name is Muyiwa.
And I'm Kasola.
And this is Love and Emotions Hub. Your spouse should be your bestie. For instance, myself now, there's nothing that I can tell anybody that I've not told my wife. That's the truth of the matter, you know, because she's my bestie. In fact, when anything happens, she's the first point of call, the first person I go to talk to. And I'm sure the same thing with you, yeah?
Yes.
So that's the truth of the matter. That's how it's supposed to be.
Do you know why setting boundaries in a marriage is very essential? Boundaries serve as a guardrail in a marriage. Do you know what guardrail is? A guardrail is that barrier that protects you, probably when you're walking down the stairs or you're walking on the bridge. That guardrail that prevents you from falling off the bridge,
Yes.
or anywhere that you find yourself. It's something that protects you. So if we say boundaries are guardrails in marriage, so you can understand what it means when the boundaries are not there. Anybody can enter and you also can go out. Anything can create any strain, anything can create any tension whatsoever. And it's very, very important to set boundaries as couples in a relationship. And for this video, it is very, very important to set boundaries with opposite sex in your marriage if you don't want to create a strain in your marriage.
We're going to be looking at the effects of not setting boundaries, because for everything that happens, there are consequences. So if you are not setting boundaries, there are effects they cause. And one of those effects is loss of trust and security. One of the bedrocks of every marriage is trust and security. Once it is lost, it's very, very hard for you to get that person. It will struggle. It's very hard for you to get the person's allegiance as much as possible, because the person will begin to now doubt you,
start thinking and putting meanings to the things that
to little things, overthinking some things,
always at the edge. The person does not even take your word for it, even when you are very, very genuine. And you that you are very, very genuine and your spouse is not even taking your word for it, you are frustrated. It's a whole lot of things that escalates to even bigger issues. And if care is not taken, it might break the marriage.
So, and number two is emotional strain. It can cause you emotional strain. Things that will not get to you before now begin to get to you.
I mean, how will you not even be strained emotionally when, say for example, your husband is on a call with the female bestie, like 2 hours, 3 hours, and you're inside that same house, like we are inside this house together, and he's giggling and laughing and all. I'm like, guy, like, I'm human.
And painfully, he has not even done that to you.
Exactly. And then I'm left here thinking that, what are they even saying? Are they even talking about me? Or are they talking about something? Or is there something between them? You are thinking different things, and it puts a lot of emotional strain on you, because even as human beings, everyday living you're already thinking of work, out what to cook, or different things that it's on the emotional level also. Now adding uncertainty of having your maybe spouse with opposite sex bestie. Opposite sex bestie is a whole lot of emotional stress that you shouldn't be putting yourself to.
And another thing it can cause is conflict escalation. Something that you would have talked over very easily without any issues. If you need to say sorry, you will say sorry and the other person agrees. But at this point in time now, those little things that they are supposed to be easily settled are not easily settled. You now begin to look at it that, maybe that's even why he's talking to me anyhow. Maybe that's why he's just behaving to me anyhow. Now I don't make sense to him anymore. Things like that, or I don't make sense to her anymore. Now, don't get it twisted. it happens on both sides. There are women who have male besties, and there are men who have female besties.
Exactly.
So we're not tilting it to any
At
side.
all.
It's
It can
applicable
happen
to
on any
both genders.
side, yes.
Exactly. So please, try to avoid this. Another thing is resentment and frustration. Have you seen a frustrated spouse before? Everything annoys them. I'm just looking at the best way to explain this thing, but I don't know if you will get what I'm saying. Resentment and frustration.
Yes, and it also puts a strain on the other spouse because you are trying as much as possible to let your spouse know that maybe I love you, I care for you, but this other person is very resentful towards you. The person is frustrated towards you.
So the person is not even accepting,
talk less of even reciprocating. Right? And on the side of the victim spouse, any which ways, the person is resentful because it feels like he or she is not heard, he or she is not wanted, he or she is not appreciated, he or she is not respected, and then the unquote victim spouse starts feeling that resentment towards the spouse, because if you really care about me, you won't be spending time with somebody else. You won't be thinking that this other person, your bestie, is more important than you.
And unfortunately we hear people say things that I'm not this for you, this, and that's their own excuse. Now, do you know that in itself can cause resentment and frustration? Because this person has been making you understand that, see, I don't like it, I feel somehow, I feel hurt. You are still on your own ground of I've known this person before you, and that's your own explanation. There's nothing there.
Exactly. What is marriage? Marriage is a commitment. Marriage is a commitment, and I don't know the kind of vows you took, but there's a part of our vows that says forsaking all others. When it says forsaking all others, it means that I'm not saying that you should be enemies with your besties, but your bestie will become dethroned the moment you say I do to your spouse, and your spouse will now be the bestie.
Take that role.
I'm not saying that you should not have a relationship with your bestie, but your spouse first, then all others. If you like, your besties, these people should be in the womb of your mother before that doesn't matter right now again once you say I do.
So if you're watching this video and you know somebody who needs to see this video, send it to them. Please don't hesitate, send it to them, because I've had lots of people, I'm telling you, in recent times especially, lots of people have sent me messages telling me that there's this my friend that our spouse has been has this bestie and another, and they don't know, they've been telling the person to calm down. That's one of the reasons we decided to do this video. Please send this video to them and let them watch it.
At this point, if you've not liked this video, please like this video, share and subscribe. You liking, sharing and subscribe serves as a pointer to us that you are getting something from this video and you're being blessed. Don't also forget to share to everybody in your status. You never can tell who is going through some of these things, and you never can tell who you'll be a blessing to by sharing this video. Also, do not forget to like, share and subscribe. If you've not done that, you're giving another second chance to do that right now. When you subscribe, just comment subscribe in the comment section, and we'll give you a personal welcome.
We'll send you a big hug. All right. There are plenty types of boundaries. There are emotional boundaries, physical boundaries, time boundaries, financial boundaries. Do you know that there are some people who give other people money without their spouses actually knowing? So we won't be going into the depths of this explanation of the different kind of boundaries, but we just want you to know that these different kind of boundaries exist. Now, this is the most important part of this video, which is how do you now establish boundaries? We've talked about the effect, we've talked about the types of boundaries. How do you now establish these boundaries? Number one, mutual consent. You know that in marriage is all about agreement. There are two things. It's either you negotiate. When you try negotiating and negotiating is not really working as much as possible, then enter into compromise. So that means in compromise, one person will have to shift ground, either a little or to a very large extent, So but it's very important that somebody has to shift ground, or both parties shift ground. So there has to be mutual consent. So that means we're agreeing that we're not going to have a bestie that is not either of us. You understand? So whoever is going to be the bestie is going to be a friend of the both of us. Do you see that? He's going to be a friend of the both of us. So it's not just going to be
that bestie is second level bestie.
Thank you. So this is first level bestie. That person becomes the second level bestie. And that means that if the person wants to talk to me and I'm talking to my wife, or I say I'm busy with my wife, then the person has to respect that.
Exactly.
That's it.
Exactly.
You understand? Or I'm talking to the person and my wife calls. I have to tell the person that I'm sorry, my wife needs my attention.
Yes, I'll call you back.
Do you understand?
Which kind of thing is that one? I should be telling you something. You be like, baby. When it's not as if it's a business something.
Exactly.
You still want to bring money or you still want to bring one connection. People are just gisting and talking and you don't vex me.
Don't vex me.
Next thing.
Yeah. So mutual consent. That's number one step you take. Number two, regular check-ins.
We know that there are some times that we might make a decision today, but because we are evolving as human beings and our needs are evolving, there might be situations that will warrant that a change occurs, right? And so when things like that happens, sometimes we might need to check what boundaries they are setting. Say for example, now I place a boundary on my husband, or we decide to place on each other, saying that if you are talking to a female friend, you shouldn't talk for more than 15 minutes at a stretch, right? And maybe in the next 2 or 3 months,
that's just an example.
Just an example. He gets a job that requires that female friend to be working, together on a project for a particular time. It means that it's very possible that my husband will be talking to this same female person for more than 15 minutes. Right, because things are changing for that period. He needs to talk more to that person, and even probably more frequently, right? So regular check-ins are very, very important because things could change at some point. So adjustments is very, very needful.
The third one is communication and respect. See, marriage is built on communication. There's nothing you want to achieve in your marriage. If you do not communicate about it, you cannot achieve it. That's the truth. And this is not just limited to communication. This is communication and respect. So that means that when you are communicating with your spouse on setting those boundaries, you must also have respect for that spouse. So if, for instance, you are telling your spouse that okay, we are limiting the time to maybe 15 minutes or 30 minutes for that opposite gender or opposite sex. After you have made that decision, if the person explains to you that, see, the truth of the matter is that I agree to this, but there are some times that we have to talk more than this because of so reasons. Respect that. And you should feel good about that because the person has already communicated to you and made you understand. Do you understand? Then if you have questions based on that, feel free to ask.
Yes.
Or if it gets to another point where you feel that it's getting too much, then check in again.
Also, the manner at which you let your concern known to is very, very important.
And that's another angle of respect.
Of communication too, right? Communication and respect. Say for example, I noticed that my husband is spending too much time with a female bestie. Let me put it that way. I don't come and say that, babe, you need to cut communication with this person. Why am I here? Or something like that. You can just let him know that I understand that this person is your bestie, right? And she's absolutely phenomenal. But sometimes I feel like I'm being neglected. We're in the house together and you're always on the phone with this person. I'm not saying that you shouldn't call her. I'm not saying that you should not, but at least create time for me also. And let us also talk. There's too many things I want to say to you, but you're not even here listening to me. Let your concerns be known respectfully, without vulgar words or adding insult or making it look like whatever word it is. So it's very, very important to choose the tone of your communication, to be empathetic in your communication, and to be respectful also in your communication.
Fantastic. And there's the last one I'd like to mention, which is if in a case where you see that these things that we have talked about so far are not working on your spouse. Maybe your spouse is a coconut head kind of person, or the person that does not really listen to you as much as you want. Then, number one, either see a mentor, somebody who is ahead of you, somebody your spouse respects, somebody you can tell about it, or see a professional counselor that can help you overcome this, that can help you probably talk to your spouse. So the person will give you steps on how you can work on this, relate with your spouse in a way that your spouse will not feel like you are fighting the person, or you are shouting on the person, or you are being rude or commanding the person. Do you understand? So, and then it might get to a point where the counselor might even invite
the spouse
to speak to your spouse. Do you understand the kind of thing? So that will really help you too, because there are times that some people are trying doing this thing on their own, but they work. You understand? So you need a superior
and sometimes
you need a superior
you
help.
need a neutral point of view,
Yes.
a neutral perspective,
Yes.
and that's where trained counselors will come in, because both of you are sure that okay, this person is not going to take sides, based off on any emotional attachment or anything like that. It's not as if I know you from anywhere,
Exactly.
So but I'm telling you what is obtainable if you do this or you do not do this. I tell you the pros and the cons to everything that you are doing, and then I leave you to make the decision as a trained relationship and marriage counselor.
Yeah, I hope at this point you've been really blessed by this video. Please don't forget to subscribe. I want to believe that at this point you've already done that. And if you have not done that, we're giving you 1 second to quickly do that. Are you done?
Yes.
Thank you so much. And just as my wife said earlier, once you subscribe, just put it on the comment section that you subscribe, and really we're going to send you a very big hug to welcome you to this family.
And please share this video.
Please share this.
It's you that know what is doing you. You don't know what's doing people out there until they start expressing and narrating what they are going through.
Exactly.
Just send it to them. You are doing people a favor you don't know. Send it to put it on your status, send it to every of your social media platforms. You can send it. You know how to send it. Just under this picture or video interface, you'll see a share button that goes like this or like this. I don't know. Anyways, click that button. You'll see the different avenues by which you can share this video. You can share to Instagram, to WhatsApp. You can copy the link and download. You can do different things with it. Just share as much as possible. Do not be stingy. Right?
And let others to be blessed by this. We have received a lot of calls, a lot of messages on this topic, and that's one of the reasons why we are addressing it.
And if there is any topic that is burning in your heart, or some people have expressed to you and you've not been able to
answer them,
yes, please just drop those things in the comment section, and we'll do well to address them in videos to come. So
we love you guys. See you in our next video. Bye.